Stroh's, official sponsors of the National Hockey League. From Chicago, it's the Hawks and Isles, live on USA.
Blackhawks here at Chicago Stadium. Their second. And Gary Green, it's as noisy as ever in Chicago Stadium.
Well, this is an exciting place to watch a hockey game, whether or not that is regular season or playoffs. A jam-packed crowd here at Chicago Stadium.
This place is electric. And here we go with Gardner against Brent Sutter. And immediately Brent Sutter gets it, and Thomas Johnson shot it near the Chicago line. Ben Wilson flips it into the Otter zone. Number 2, Gord Dineen, over to Gilbert on left wing, number 17. Greg Gilbert to the Chicago line with a shot wide. Now the rookie Pat Flatley behind the net to Gilbert. That's broken up, and back comes Bill Gardner for the Hawks, number 14. Gardner dropping one back, but right onto Brent Sutter's stick. Sutter, number 21, clearing it to Gilbert, who couldn't get it outside the zone. Gardner held it in. Gardner trying to feed Ludzik. Out of the goal is Billy Smith to clear it. And number 8, Flatley, clears to Sutter, now to Gilbert, number 17. He shoots it into the Chicago's pressure on. Gilbert to Sutter, he scores! Brent Sutter feeding Bannerman to the bottom left.
But picking that corner beautifully. Bannerman had made a couple of real key saves, Dan. You couldn't expect him to continue without allowing a goal. Chicago looking a little weak in their own zone.
That's Brent Sutter's 25th goal of the year. He's the 5th best point getter in the NHL to this point of the season. Now the Hawks coming back. Ludzik firing it in. Patterson couldn't get it. Now Bill Gardner does. Gardner trying to drop it back to the point, but Dwayne Sutter cleared it, not out. Gardner held it in. Now Gord Dineen to Dwayne Sutter. Ahead to Bourne, who's playing center ice tonight. Bourne normally is a winger. Here is Dineen. Couldn't get it into the Hawk zone, and Patterson gets it and starts back for Chicago. Rick Patterson clearing it in. Thomas Johnson back to get it. Johnson circling his own goal. Feeds one for Matt Celine, who lets it go the length of the ice. And into Bill Gardner. Gardner in on right wing, cutting in. Johnson, the poke check to knock it away. And then he cleared it. Held in at the point. A drive, and off the side of the net and off Billy Smith's stick. In behind the Otter goal. Here's Brent Sutter. Tried to clear it, and he cleared it up over the boards at the Otter players' bench. Early in this game, the Otters lead the Blackhawks 1-0. We're in Chicago Stadium.
Then the Islanders in this first period, they are really putting the pressure on.
Buffalo 3-2 over Edmonton in that other game that we talked about earlier. Face-off coming up in the New York zone. Langevin for New York, clearing one as the Otters have their kid line out there. And here's one of the kids, number 23, shooting it in. The Blues, or the Hawks, trying to clear it out of there. Now we have a fight. Kerr getting into it with the Chicago rookie Mark Bergevin. And they hammer away at each other in the corner. A couple of rookies.
Power play behind the net. He fed Bob Murray, and Murray had an excellent scoring chance, but Billy Smith looking very sharp between the posts. He knows that if he lets a goal in now, Al Arbour's going to be pretty upset. Meanwhile, Orville Tessier is a little upset at the power play performance again.
Just 20 seconds left in that last Otter penalty. 7:57 left in the period. Still 1-0 for the Otters. Now it will be Gardner and Tonelli taking this face-off. Puck comes to Ben Wilson at the point. Shot in behind the goal. Over onto left wing is Kravchuk. And he clears it down the ice. And Bannerman setting it up for Ben Wilson, number 23. Wilson comes to center ice. Ben Wilson still with the puck. Wilson over to Keith Brown. Centers to Patterson. With Patterson, too well checked by Trottier. Now gets it away, and Smith out on the ice had made the save. And now we're going to even see Al Trotwig on skates. I can't wait.
Folks, don't miss that one because, well, Al Trotwig was something else, and we'll leave it at that.
Face-off won by the Hawks. Keith Brown clearing it back of his own goal. Now Flatley centered one off Bannerman's stick and then cleared away, and Patterson comes back for the Hawks to Brown. Brown shooting it in. Didak is back to get it for New York. Cleared it on the boards. Ben Wilson holding that in. Now to Gardner, who couldn't center it, and Flatley, number 8. The Editor rookie comes to center. Patterson knocks that down. Now Gilbert into Flatley. Flatley shoots it in behind the Chicago goal. Gilbert in to get it to Brent Sutter. Brent Sutter in front to Flatley. He couldn't get it. Now Gilbert does come up with the puck. Into the corner to number 8, Pat Flatley. Brown tying him up. Back to Gilbert. Here's Gilbert, number 17, trying to pick his way in front. Centered it. Cleared away by Bannerman and Patterson. Now shoots at the center ice. Flatley dropping it to his own line to Diduck. Now to Potvin. Back over to the rookie, number 29, Jerry Diduck. He's checked in the play, but Brent Sutter was there to cover up. Now Bob Murray controlling for the Hawks. Tried to shoot it in. Potvin intercepting. Number 5, Potvin. Flips it in. Trottier digs in, but he was too well checked in the play by Ludzik. And then his shot wide of the target. Trottier scores! That puck came off the boards to Trottier, and he just had to Salim. And Salim with a shot. Bannerman the save, and he's in.
Not when he went down in that crouch, whether or not maybe it wasn't the shot that hurt at all, but a funny way that he may have twisted his neck. That seems very
of Winnipeg. His first full year with the Blackhawks. He's bounced around the minor leagues with Chicago at New Brunswick and the American.
That is a lot of pressure.
Warren Skorodinsky will see a face-off to his right. 51 seconds left in the period. It's 2-0 for the Auditors, and here is Brent Sutter dropping it to Potvin. His shot blocked, and Bill Gardner breaks it up and cleared it to Ludzik at center ice. Ludzik on right wing into the Auditor zone. He spun around. Now Gilbert cleared it out of there for New York. It goes all the way down the ice. Doug Wilson going back to touch it, and it's icing.
You knew the game plan for the Islanders. 52 seconds remaining. Face-off was in Chicago's end. They were going to try and get as many shots away as possible. So the forwards really bailed them out. The defensemen get that puck down in the Islanders zone. Give Skorodinsky the chance to get out of this period without too much work and let him get warmed up in the dressing room, ready for the second period.
This, by the way, is Skorodinsky's 12th game of the year. He has a 6-3-0 one-loss record, 1 shutout, and a 2.76 goals against average. But as we told you at the outset, Bannerman has done the brunt of the goaltending. Puck in behind the Auditor goal. Billy Smith shooting it around in the boards. Gardner into forecheck on Trottier. Trottier does get it free and moves it to Flatley. And the Auditors come to center and shoot it in. Bounces off the side of the goal. Bob Murray back to get it. Over now to Patterson. Patterson, a pass to Ludzik was behind him. Comes to the New York line, and right back comes the rookie Diduck to Flatley, who pokes it wide of the goal. Bob Murray back to get the puck. And there's the buzzer.
Watches and clocks. Handsome Quartz World.
Second period. Injuries and all to both these clubs. And it's a 2-0 Islander lead. Gord Lane now flipping it in. And the Chicago goaltender Skorodinsky stopped it back of the net. Now Langevin at the point couldn't hold it in. And Brent Sutter has to go all the way back into his own zone. Cleared it around onto the boards. Now taken by Ben Wilson. He drops it to Keith Brown. And Brown just back off the injury list. Feeds Gardner now to Steve Larmer. Centered, and it's deflected by Ludzik over top of the net. Pat Flatley, the Auditor rookie, shooting it over onto the boards. Gilbert couldn't clear it out of there. Here's Ludzik again. Lane ties him up. Now Gardner for Chicago. Ridden out of the play in the corner. And it's taken by Langevin and shot to center ice. Ben Wilson has it there. Flatley trying to steal it. Did. Wilson took him out of the play, and that allowed Keith Brown to get to the puck. Over to number 29, Ludzik. Back to the goal to Wilson, number 23. Ben Wilson at center to Gardner. Into the Auditor zone, broken up, and here's Trottier breaking down left wing for New York. Brian Trottier flips it in front to Flatley. Flatley checked on the play by Wilson. Now it's centered, and Trottier in the slot couldn't handle it, and then he came out and made the save. Now it's centered, and Bossy backhands it home for another Islander goal. And Langevin is back for the Islanders. To Tonelli. Flipped to center, knocked away by Ludzik. Now Diduck for New York cleared it to center, and here's Bill Gardner. Over to Steve Ludzik. He dropped it into his own zone to Ben Wilson. Wilson to Keith Brown, now to Larmer. Into Ludzik. He centered one. Gardner in front. Shoots. He shot wide. Gardner with a great opportunity, and he blasted it wide. And Matt Saline now shoots it in for New York. Bourne in to get it, but it's cleared out of there by Chicago. And as Longevity nothing in favor of the Islanders, that last Islanders scoring play. Mike Bossy's 37th of the year. Tonelli and Diddick the assists. 1:37 the time. Chicago clearing it in. Now Gardner behind the net to Ludzik. Got it in front. They score! Steve Larmer. Boy, that Steve Larmer has a natural goal scorer around that net. He has great hands, great ability.
Well, you hit on the key, Dan. Great hands. Very soft touch around the net when Larmer got possession of the puck. Good short pass from Ludzik. But watch Larmer. Number 28 coming into your screen. There he just turns. He's being covered, but just a soft, gentle movement with that puck right along the ice. Fooled Billy Smith completely. Steve Larmer, that is his 25th goal of this hockey season.
You know, Brent Sutter in front to Flatley. He scores! Pat Flatley with a backhander along the ice. And it's Potvin over to Trottier, number 19. He passed without looking and put it right onto the Hawks. Steve Ludzik's stick, who clears it in. Going in is Steve Larmer. Larmer now to Gardner. A shot. Smith a save on a shot from a sharp angle. Back comes Tonelli for the Islanders. He bounces one wide of the net. Gorodinsky clears to Doug Wilson in the corner. He feeds it at center to Larmer, who has scored the Chicago goal. He leaves it for Gardner, and Bill Smith got his blocker out to stop that. And back comes Wayne Sutter to Helene. Into the Chicago zone. Murray is there to clear one. And here comes Larmer again. Larmer, number 28, into the slot, shooting. Blocked at the defense by Lane. Now Ludzik behind the net. In front, Larmer's bad angle shot handled by Smith. And Bourne cleared at the center. Jack O'Callahan trying to shoot it back in for Chicago. Dave Langevin breaks that up and going. Bounce back to edge the Sabres 5-4. Then Yaremchuk to Bob Murray. A shot blocked. They score! Troy Murray!
Well,
getting the goal as the Hawks got a good bounce of the puck. The Islanders have had a couple earlier in this game. Murray out of North Dakota University popping in the goal on the power play. His 14th of the year. Bob Murray and Yaremchuk the assist. 10:24 the time. And the Islander lead has been cut to 4-2. The Islanders lane beating one out. Trottier leaves it for Tonelli. John Tonelli couldn't get around the young defenseman Bergevin. And Chicago starts back. Ludzik, number 29, to center ice. Ludzik flipping one in. A bouncer that Smith clears into the right wing corner for Mike Bossy. Mike Bossy, who scored his 37th goal of the year earlier tonight, to John Tonelli. Long pass that's up too high and goes up. The Islanders 4, Chicago 2. Couple of good bounces of the puck led the Islanders to a couple of goals. Chicago just got a good bounce as that puck bounced on that last goal right to the stick of Troy Murray. Now back comes Gord Lane for New York. Leaves it to Tonelli. Centering pass. Wilson knocks it down, and Bob Murray takes over. Bob Murray lead pass to Gardner. Broken up in Lane. Dumps it back in. Gorodinsky back to get it for Bob Murray. He cleared one. Tonelli trying to clear it out. Now it's centered and intercepting in front of the goal. And starting back is Rick Patterson, number 26. Patterson couldn't get it through the defense. And Trottier comes back for New York. Brian Trottier leaving it for Tonelli. Tonelli ridden into the corner by Wilson. Puck is still loose behind the skates of Ludzik, and now finally play is called. Gary, another thought as I watch Chicago the last couple of minutes, they seem
on their NHL Major League salary. The players coming up who were previously on an American League or Central League salary, a minor league salary anyway, they all of a sudden, you have to escalate their pay to a major league role, so you're increasing your salaries tremendously. It really burdens the financial, takes away from that good old budget.
Here's Tonelli on right wing, getting it to Mike Bossy. Bossy into the corner. Now it comes to Trottier, back to Potvin. Potvin shoots one. Gorodetsky the save, rebound, and Trottier, he shoots, he scores! Trottier with Gorodetsky. Wayne Sutter and Ben Wilson, and here they go. One of them was going to get a penalty already, and then they drop their sticks and start to throw punches.
I believe it was going to be to Dwayne Sutter because the Blackhawks had possession of the puck and referee Don Koharski was not whistling it. And then the fracas broke out.
Another final score, Quebec winners over the Detroit Red Wings 5-2. The Nordiques, who have been a much improved team in recent weeks, winners over Detroit. Now Chicago still on a power play as they drop it back to Gardner at the point. Over to Bob Murray, now centered, and John Tonelli intercepts, cleared it, not out. Now on the second try, did get it, and Tonelli breaks away with Trottier 2-on-1. To Trottier, and Trottier missed the open side of the net as he tried for the hat trick. Now Tonelli a shot. Gorodetsky stops that and then clears the rebound, and Yaremchuk drops it back of his own goal. Dave Ludzik into the corner to get it. To Bob Murray behind the net. Bob Murray moving up ice to Yaremchuk. Yaremchuk in across the line, puts on the brakes, tried to drop it back. Now does get it to Bob Murray, shoots one, stopped by Smith and then cleared away. Olczyk into the corner. Now Flatley just out of the penalty box, and Pat Flatley gets the puck and gives it to Gilbert, who plays the boards in the stadium, and the Islanders in command.
Shoot and smile, because
Your left after Chris is 20% off. That's Morris, men's and young.
Number 24, Wilson shoots, he scores! Troy Murray may have deflected it in. We'll wait and see. Wilson let it fly, and Troy Murray may have deflected.
Cutting down on that angle that Billy could see the puck from, and I believe it was a tip-in.
Here comes Bossy right back for New York with a shot wide. It hit the backboards with such velocity, it goes all the way back into the Islander zone, and Gord Dineen is there to get it. He gives it to number 22, Mike Bossy. Bossy now to Tonelli. Return to Bossy. Bossy through center ice on right wing into the Chicago zone. Gorodetsky the save. And a backhand try by Tonelli on the rebound. Went wide. Now it's Ludzik coming back for Chicago. Steve Ludzik into a bad angle, trying to center one. Ludzik still with the puck. Now cleared it behind the goal, and Dave Langevin uses the boards to clear it down the ice. Gorodetsky setting it up back there, and here comes Murray. Bob Murray a long pass down the ice.
One shift after another, and don't give it that same solid effort.
What's this snow on my roof? On the face-off, winning the draw, and Diddick cleared it off the boards to center. Wilson has it there over to Brown. Brown shooting it to the Islander line. Picked up by Ludzik, number 29. Ludzik centers. There's Ben Wilson right in, and he's shot wide. Now Gardner. Centering it in front. Here's Ben Wilson controlling it. Into Ludzik. Over to Gardner. Bill Gardner behind the goal. Now Larmer trying to center. And John Tonelli gets it for New York. Wilson pinching in from the point to hold it in. Now Tonelli breaks loose. John Tonelli over to Trottier, now to Diddick. Jerry Diddick shooting it in, but now to Doug Wilson. A drive, Smith the save, they score! Wysiak on the rebound. Goal of the season, and the Hawks have scored 2 power play goals in a row here in the third period. The Islanders, by the way, had gone 5 straight games without giving up a power play goal, and they give up 2 in a row here in the third. Now the Islanders dump it in, and this will be an icing call against New York. Wysiak the goal. Savard and Doug Wilson the assist. 5:11 the time. And maybe Orville Tessier and the Blackhawks power play. They chant, "Let's go Hawks." Hawks go. Here they get ready for a face-off. Gardner against Brent Sutter. Flatley now clearing it into the corner. Here's Brent Sutter, poke check by O'Callahan. Now Bergevin, the rookie, trying to clear it out, and it is poked to Gardner. He couldn't get it out of the zone. Apparently it did come out and then was shot back in offside at the Chicago blue line. Well, these 2 goals by Chicago have really erupted this crowd, and they are right behind the Blackhawks now.
Well, if they can complain about being a little tense when they're at home and things aren't going well, I'll tell you, these fans here in Chicago can be worth a couple of goals to you when you start showing them that you mean business. And right now in this third period, the Blackhawks are in motion, and the fans are behind them.
Here's Chicago from the faceoff as Larmer moves down ice. Tied up by Diduck, dropping it back for the rookie Bergevin. Clearing it to Larmer again, on into the corner to Ludzik. Ludzik centers one. Here's O'Callahan, a shot. That's blocked, and Gilbert comes back for New York with a pass to Flatland. Bergevin back for Chicago, number 2. Mark Bergevin, 19-year-old rookie. Clearing it. Brent Sutter intercepts Steve Larmer's pass. Gives it to Gilbert, who shoots it right back in for New York. Now Bergevin, number 2. Bergevin feeding Ludzik. Dineen took him out of the play. Dineen back to get the loose puck. And Gord Dineen, a pass to $4.
In Washington, take Jefferson Avenue off route.
Rookie Olczyk. Olczyk in front. Savard shoots. He scores! Dennis Savard! They're really whooping it up. Savard got the goal. Olczyk and Ben Wilson the assist. 8:51 the time.
Well, Orville Tessier, as your team got one more left in them in this third period, it has been all their period. 3 goals in the third. Chicago staging the comeback. 10:43 remaining in this third. A long time yet to go.
You think they get up for the games at Chicago Stadium, these fans? Here from a face-off, a false start, so they'll do it over again.
It's just a tremendous place to play, Dan. As you have heard many a Chicago Blackhawk former and present player tell you that there is nothing like it when these fans get going and you're out there on the ice, boy, they can really motivate you.
Dennis Savard has scored that last Chicago goal. Here's the face-off. And a jam up immediately from the face-off in the Islander zone. And it will again be in the circle to the right of Billy Smith. Savard really fooled Smith with that spin-around play he made. But meanwhile, you shouldn't be able to score from that angle.
No, you shouldn't. But Dennis Savard has scored from unusual angles before. His agility is tremendous.
Here's Chicago's Gardner holding it in. And as it bounced off the knee, it went right up over the glass and into the crowd. These Blackhawks are fired up now.
Somewhat frenzied crowd right now, Dan. They are behind their home team, and the Blackhawks are giving them something to cheer about. Just a different team totally than we saw in the first and second period. I was being very critical of them, not hustling to get to the puck, not showing much intensity forechecking wise, but this third period, well, they are a different team.
Here's a long pass from Langevin
to them in this third period. But yet, if ever there has been a team in the last 5 years that can defend a lead, it has been the Islanders, so they still have a 1-goal advantage.
Puck is cleared to center by New York. Now Bob Murray clearing it right back in. Smith out of the net to poke it away from Ludzik. Now behind the goal, Langevin shooting it around to Gilbert, who gets it to center. Brent Sutter racing after it, but Doug Wilson hustles back. And he knocked it off the boards back to the Islander line. Ludzik steals it. Here's Larmer shooting one, and he put it high off an Islander stick right up over the glass. The score with 9:54 left in the third.
Position in order to see that, Don Koharski was.
Number 24, Doug Dineen and Olczyk getting a scrap. That's how fierce the checking was on that little excursion into the corner.
Well, once again, we see 2 young players involved And the defense has played so well and carried the puck out of their zone. Wilson and Murray have to give a lot of credit to those two players that log a lot of ice time.
Doug Wilson at the point, a drive. Smith got that one up high. Here's Bourne coming back for New York. Got it to center, now Tonelli. Moving across the line, John Tonelli. Trying to feed it through. Tonelli on left wing to Trottier. Back to Potvin. Potvin shoots. Oh, and that's deflected by Bossy just wide. Here's Potvin. To Tonelli, a shot. He fired wide. Now Potvin into Bossy. Over to Tonelli, and Skorodensky, a diving save. Potvin at the point. Over to Bourne. Into Tonelli, back to Bourne. Bourne to Tonelli, who's knocked down but held it in, but Bob Murray will clear it out of there for Chicago. Just 4:29 to play in regulation time. Remember, at the end of this game, we'll be naming our mobile player of the game. So stay regulation time. It'll be Bill Gardner against Brian Trottier. And on the faceoff, the Auditors come up with it, and Potvin, number 5, leads a 3-on-2 rush to center. Into Brent Sutter. Back to Potvin. Skorodensky the save. And Steve Larmer has it for the Hawks. Ed Manning to Ludzik. Ludzik to Gardner. Gardner checked, and Diduck has it for New York. Passing it to Brent Sutter, but it's offside. 2 left in the regulation part of this game. Bill Torrey in the middle of your screen is the Auditor president and general manager. And assistant coach Brian Wilson to center ice to Lysiak. His shot blocked by Langevin. Now Ludzik backhanded it right through the goal crease. And the Auditors clear it. Held in by Lysiak. Trying to center to Ludzik. And then Dave Langevin again has it for New York to John Tonelli. Tonelli feeding it over on right wing for Diduck. Diduck is dumping it into the Hawk zone. And Bob Murray, number 6, has it for Chicago. 2 minutes left in regulation time. Here's Gardner. In on the wing for Larmer. Shooting. Hit the side of the net with a low shot. And Gilbert has it for the Auditors. He just shot it to the Chicago line. Doug Wilson back to get it to Bob Murray. Got to center ice. And then off the stick of Ludzik back to Wilson again. Now Larmer to Gardner. Gardner, number 14, moving in to Ludzik. Too well checked by Lane, and Smith out of the net. Comley cleared it on the board. Wilson pinching in to force a faceoff, which will come with...
Came out on top of a 7-6 win, but that was in overtime. So once again, Dan, overtime...
Wait until you have to. Here is Gardner against Brent Sutter in the Auditor zone. Very important faceoff. And it's Brent Sutter getting tossed out. So Brian Trottier was on the ice to step in as a backup. Not a bad backup.
Not at all.
And Trottier wins the draw, and Bossy is able to poke it down into the Chicago zone. Keith Brown back after it. Cleared one to Ludzik. Ludzik lost it to Brent Sutter. Sutter to Bossy. Bossy stick handling at center for New York. Tried to clear it in. Knocked away by Ludzik, who dropped it to Ben Wilson. Out of Brown. Back to Wilson. Shot in by Murray. There goes Skorodensky to the bench. 6 attackers for Chicago. We're in the final minute. Troy Murray into the corner with Lane, and it's held there. And the Hawks, with 53 seconds left, get what they want. Lysiak comes back to Larmer. His shot a bouncer. Smith to save as the Chicago at 34. The Auditors 27.